Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time on the GSMC Sports Network here to talk about everything we love is professional wrestling. So we have a lot for you today on tap. We have our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We have our WWE NXT preview. We're also going to talk about Kevin Owens has not yet come to an agreement with WWE in terms of contract talks. And in our fourth segment, we're going to talk to someone who has come to an agreement in terms of contract talks. WWE Women's Division Superstar Asuka, former WWE Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown. She's done it all. She's done it all. We're going to talk about her signing a long-term deal with WWE. And then in our fifth and final segment, something we do every Tuesday night, I bring you guys into my DeLorean, gun it to 88 miles per hour. I'm just kidding. I'm a huge Back to the Future fan, like a Doc Brown, just imagine, joining me. We're going to go back on this date of September 3rd. We're going to talk about some iconic wrestling moments that happened, a couple of birthdays as well. So, let's go and do it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. It is Tuesday. Hope you guys had an amazing Labor Day weekend. Y'all who had, a 3-day weekend. Hope you had fun, safe, awesome memories. Took a lot of pictures, maybe, for photo albums, maybe for the gram, or just do it for, what? Something that I got to be honest with you guys. I'm not a huge picture taker kind of guy. And let me explain. I don't know. I just feel like I don't want to say like, oh, I just live in the moment, bro. Like, who cares about like, posting pictures on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all that kind of stuff. For me, I kind of just like to, live life the way it comes. Taking pictures is cool and all, but under this, prominent day and age of digital media, I don't know. I just don't feel the need to. And, and I'm not hating on people who do. By all means, it's entertaining as hell where, people do that, where they scroll on Instagram and stuff like that. So by all means, that's the way, you like to, show your pictures off and stuff like that. That's 1,010% cool. Not hating on it. 1,010%. But, I guess I'm just not that kind of guy. All right, so let's go ahead and dig on into this episode of the GSMC Wrestling Lore podcast. But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to give that super thanks, that super chats, so we can get things going here in terms of, so you guys can become part of the mix. Whether if it's got a burning, whether if you have a burning question or just a hot take in terms of professional wrestling, or if you just got something you've been dying to share, we are all ears here at the GSMC Sports Network. This show is all about keeping you guys in the mix, keeping the conversations lively, keeping the party going, making sure your voice is absolutely 110% all this podcast really needs. Don't be shy and drop the thoughts inside the chat. And if you really want to make sure your comment or question gets noticed, why not use that super chat box? It's that $sign below the chat box. Just, send in your message, your comment, concern, and it will be featured on the show. Plus, it's a great way to support our channel. Your super chats helps us keep the lights on and bring you guys even more awesome sports content and this, in this case, wrestling content. We are absolutely super grateful for each and every one of you guys, obviously, who tune in daily to the GSMC Sports Network. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's make this show bigger, better, and stronger than ever with the help of you guys. And if the super chat, once again, is not your thing, we are still at, we still have the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Also follow the show, follow the network so you guys can be, up to date in terms of what happens with the GSMC podcast, podcast.net. So, yeah. All right, so we got that out of the way. Let's talk about some WWE Monday Night Raw. Rollins. I'm just kidding. Seth Rollins surprisingly was not on Monday Night Raw, which was I feel like it was kind of sad. It's kind of sad. I miss Seth Rollins. Got to be honest. All right, so let's dig on into it. So WWE Monday Night Raw started off with Rhea Ripley, obviously, building up momentum toward Bad Blood, and I thought about the match Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio had with the Terror Twins. I overall knew it was going to be like one of those throwaway squash matches. I knew it wasn't really going to be taken seriously. Obviously, it means a lot for Rhea. It means a lot for Rhea. For Damien, he's like, you know what? I have to go against this clown that obviously I'm 10 times, maybe even 1,000 times better than Dominic Mysterio. But they're just building momentum toward Bad Blood. So we're gonna have a WWE Women's World Heavyweight Championship match at Bad Blood. They kind of hinted at it today. Rhea said that she wants the championship. She's done, fixating on what happened between her and Dominic Mysterio. And it was overall a failed sneak attack by Liv Morgan. She could, well, not really a failed, but they did get to the knee of Rhea Ripley. But I don't know. She's still, she's a hell of a fighter, and she's not going to back down. Damian Priest came out, obviously, with the save, and the Terra Twins, stood tall again. This promo was, it was hit or miss with me. I'm kind of, I kind of want to see the Terra Twins kind of face people outside of the Judgment Day. Like I know they hate the Judgment Day. I know that it just pisses them off, pisses them off 1,010%. But I just want to see Rhea Ripley kind of move on. Liv Morgan, she's not the best WWE World's Women's champion. I feel like on Monday Night Raw, especially heading into Netflix, they need to have somebody bigger, better. So there's no doubt in my mind that before Raw goes to Netflix, that you're going to see Liv Morgan lose that title. I'm not a huge Liv Morgan fan, but I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater. Like I follow her. I follow her more as a chaser, as opposed to like as a champion when she finally wins it. It's kind of like it's all right. You know what I mean? But overall, Rhea Ripley's going to get what she wants. I think she's going to win in the future. But the thing that they have right now, the whole, between, the Terra Twins and, Judgment Day for kicking them out, it is what it is. It is what it is at this point. All right, next we had Chad Gable pumps up American Made. We had the American Made take on the Alpha Academy. And I overall thought this team of the Alpha Academy, they really needed this. I feel like they really needed this match for the win. Obviously, it did not happen. Maxine Dupree was actually pretty damn good. She was pretty damn good. She was a shining star. She was shining bright in the match. Ivy Nile was able to tap out Maxine Dupree for the win. Chad Gable, straight out said the Wyatt Sicks sucks. The Wyatt Sicks sucks. It's, I at this point, a lot of people are pretty skeptical about the faction in itself, about Bo Dallas, Dexter Loomis, Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, and of course Nikki Cross. But I kind of came to the overall conclusion that it's gonna take time. It's gonna take patience. Not sometimes, WWE fans, wrestling fans, they don't have patience. Maybe this is building something bigger, better, and stronger. There was a time where I was like, this whole bloodline thing, it's getting kind of old, Jimmy and Jey Uso, the tag team champions, Roman Reigns, the WWE Undisputed Champion, like it's getting old. But it all served its purpose. It all served its purpose, and eventually it turned out to be one of the best storylines in WWE history. So, definitely think that there's, just got to be patient. It's got to be patient. So anyways, they challenged the Wyatt Sicks to a street fight, an 8-man street fight next week on Monday Night Raw. It was accepted by Uncle Howdy. And then in the next match, we saw Zelina Vega take on Shayna Baszler. And Shayna Baszler was, she was able to pick up the win, which, kind of thought she was going to. Love Zelina Vega. She did kind of have overall like an emotional entrance. It was kind of crazy. Her career has been, she hasn't really had any shining spots in terms of just accomplishments in terms of her career inside the WWE squared circle. I think that maybe she finds a tag team partner to be WWE Women's World Tag Team Champion, but I just don't see her as a WWE World Women's Champion or a WWE Women's Champion. Now, I'm not trying to sound mean. I'm not trying to sound like a jerk, but it's just, I don't know. It's just overall, I think she has all the talent in the world, yes, and I definitely think, size in terms of WWE, the people like to say it doesn't matter, but in WWE and choreographed scripted material, it matters. It's cold and harsh to say, but it matters. Like when you saw the NXT, Women's World Championship match between Roxanne Perez and Jada Parker at No Mercy on Sunday, you kind of saw Jada Parker, like, kind of wait on Roxanne Perez a little bit. Like it seemed like she was, kind of willing to pursue a match that was too fast, too physical for Roxanne Perez based on her size. Also, you saw this at WrestleMania where you saw Bianca Belair take on, Becky Lynch, where Becky Lynch just looked from the get go, she looked outmatched. Like it was, it was kind of bad. I don't want to say embarrassing because I don't, want to seem like a jerk, but it just, I don't know. It just didn't seem like it really fit. But Zelina Vega, she's a great superstar. All these women superstars are very talented. But I don't know. It's just at the end of the match, she was beaten down. Obviously, Laura Valkyria came out and she was beaten down as well. So then you had the Pure Fusion Collective standing tall, Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark. Kind of finally having that moment in the limelight, saying that, hey, if you want to come get us, but I don't want to say it's too little, too late. I feel like something needs to happen. I want to see these girls win the WWE Women's World Tag Team Championships. That's definitely in the future, and there's no doubt in my mind that they will be the number one contenders. Although we're gonna talk about it next, but yeah, we'll just move on. Next, we have CM Punk addresses Bash at Berlin, talks about fighting Gunther. CM Punk can't fight Gunther. He cannot fight Gunther. He cannot. I don't think that match would be just because of Gunther. I feel like it would be an amazing match, but I feel like he'd be carrying CM Punk the whole time. And that's not an indictment of CM Punk being old. Like when CM Punk joined AEW, and I think it was about a year ago today that CM Punk was ultimately let go by AEW because it wasn't huge speculation saying that Tony Khan had a huge disgruntlement between him and CM Punk in the backstage, but he also said, CM Punk, he's getting old. He's getting riddled with injuries. And so far, he's been in WWE for almost about a year, and he's riddled with injuries. He doesn't have the same spark that he used to. And I'm a huge CM Punk fan. I'm a huge CM Punk fan, and I got to be honest, it kind of burns me to say this, but this whole bracelet thing, like, I don't know. I feel like this could have been booked better. Obviously, like I keep, reiterating in terms of the podcast that I feel like this script is kind of constantly being like, all right, let's wing it. Like, let's just wing it. Let's have this happen one week. Let's have this happen one week. Eventually, it was supposed to be CM Punk taking on Seth Rollins for the WWE World Championship at WrestleMania 40 before he got injured during that Royal Rumble match. He was supposed to win it, but I don't know. I don't believe in it anymore. Like I just it's getting too much. Drew McIntyre attacks once again CM Punk. Wash, rinse, and repeat. One of them hits a story, one of them hits a promo, one of them attacks the other, vice versa. And it just happens over and over and over again. And Drew McIntyre was able to take the bracelet back and he broke it into millions of pieces, forced the beads down CM Punk's throat. And for me, I was kind of like, finally, now we get to fight for something other than these damn beads. But I don't know. I just, and just to kind of add insult to injury, you had Drew McIntyre go backstage where CM Punk was being loaded into an ambulance on a stretcher with the neck brace on, and then like he attacked him again, and I don't know. It just at this point, it's kind of old. It's kind of old. WWE fans are ready to move on to something bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Have that match at Bad Blood. Should be a Hell in a Cell match. Both superstars should absolutely bleed their brains out. Although Drew McIntyre doesn't bleed, he doesn't cut, and which is good. Which is a WWE protocol. They don't want their superstars cutting. But I don't know. This has to end to the point where I think it has to end. I'm kind of over it. I think it's about time to put it to bed. All right, next, Ilja Dragunov defeats Dragon Lee and Dominic Mysterio to move on. We also saw the number one contenders match. We saw the Unholy Union defeat Damage Control to my chagrin. I thought, I thought it was dumb. I'm done seeing the Unholy Union fight Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. They're just going to lose. They're just going to lose. Let's just be, brutally honest, Mike. I would love to see Damage Control kind of get in that spot where they're kind of fighting for that babyface role. They're kind of, once when they step into the ring with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, to be, you have the fans that are rooting for Damage Control. You have fans that are rooting for Belair, also Cargill. And I feel like it would be a lot better of a story plot there. But now you have your heel versus your babyface. And sometimes that's not the best way to go about it. Usually in WWE PLEs and pay-per-views, that's what sells. You have the face champion. you have the heel contender, or vice versa. Although recently in WWE, the heel champion seems like it's been more successful, like Roman Reigns, like Brock Lesnar, and it's just the list goes on and on and on. And it should be interesting to find out what happens, kind of moving forward. Sami Zayn confronts Gunther, saying that he's the only one to defeat him. He wants a shot at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Braun Strowman moves on against Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. Sheamus is attacked by Pete Dunn, and because of that interference, Strowman picked up the victory. And in the main event, you saw Damien Priest, Jey Uso against the Judgment Day. Liv Morgan was able to try to prove dividends once again, but then Rhea Ripley came out. And, same with the Judgment Day, all the drama happening with the Judgment Day. It's, wash, rinse, and repeat on Monday Night Raw. Something's got to change, especially if you want to compete with a lot of other streaming services or shows that aren't on Netflix. People hitting up Monday Night Raw on Netflix, they click into that. And I do this all the time. I'm like, you know what? I really want to watch this show on Netflix. But then, you kind of look around a little bit and you're like, "Ooh, Peaky Blinders, that looks interesting." And then you pick that show instead. Uh, you know, Being on Netflix, could do so many great things, but it can also include, other competitions, like in, shows and shows and shows, movies. It's hard. It's, wrestling, professional wrestling. I feel like with streaming services, it could get better. But WWE Monday Night Raw needs to step it up. I could see why there's a decrease in viewership, after the PLEs. But I don't know. We should move on to our next segment, WWE NXT Preview. We're going to talk about it here, so do not go anywhere. Grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about like 25 seconds.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage, behind the curtain rumors, superstar injury updates, contract obligations. Also, we talk about promotions from AEW, WWE, the NWA, the GCW. If it makes major news, wrestling headlines, we talk about it here on this show. So just going to reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE Monday Night Raw review, and now we're going to have our NXT preview. So before we get into any of that, I want to remind you guys to hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Also, hit up that super chat box, whether if you got a burning question or just an opinion about professional wrestling. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we are all ears, 1,010%. And just to make sure your voice is, it's part of the mix, do not be shy. Do not be shy. Go ahead and drop those thoughts inside that chat. And if you really want to make sure your comment or question gets ensured that it's going to be featured on the show, use that super chat. It's that $ below chat box to be a part of the show. 1,010%. The chat obviously helps us, keep the lights on in terms of this network. Also keeps all this sports content that you guys love so damn much, and it's absolutely free. In this case, you're watching some awesome professional wrestling content. Oh, you're absolutely 1,000 times super grateful for each and every one of you guys who tune in daily. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep it lively. Let's keep this party going. And together we will make sure we can make this podcast bigger, better, and stronger than ever with those super chats. Hit up those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And once again, if the super chat thing, if it's not your thing, we are still at gsmcpodcast.net. Hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Give me, some of your opinions about professional wrestling, which would be absolutely awesome. Also, yeah, remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network, but overall, just make sure you guys have a good time. Feel free to chat anytime you want. And yeah, let's have a nice little podcast. This podcast is together. All right, so WWE NXT preview. So we are preparing for the fallout of WWE NXT No Mercy. Out No Mercy, you had NXT General Manager Ava come out announcing that on the CW premiere, there's going to be WWE tag team matches. There's going to be a WWE NXT World Heavyweight Championship title bout, and with there's going to be a WWE Performance Center opening in Las Vegas. And that's not much to a surprise because of the newly formed partnership between TKO Holdings, which includes like the UFC and other, combat sports and stuff like that that the UFC produces. So, and especially with WrestleMania being in Las Vegas this year, this is something that's it's big. It's really huge. I feel like more people will tune into WWE NXT. I honestly thought they were going to take it on the road every single week, but with with the Performance Center opening up in Las Vegas, because Las Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world. You can see you can see the Blue Man Group, you can see the Backstreet Boys, you can go to the Caesars Palace Mall, you can go to anywhere in Las Vegas and be entertained. Imagine a little bit off the strip, you can attend a WWE event on Tuesdays. And I feel like overall that's the best way to go about it. I feel like they will get a lot of attention, a lot of attention. I feel like overall UFC fighters will actually be more entailed in joining WWE when they decide to hang up their boots inside the octagon. And it's just very pragmatic. It's just right there. Like, you're a person who travels to Las Vegas. Why not check out the WWE? I'm a WWE fan. I'm not fully in tune to it. Why not watch an NXT event for like 40 or $50? You can find tickets on StubHub, Ticketmaster, or SeatGeek or whatever you get your tickets from. And it's to the point where I feel like NXT is going to be bigger. I feel like them landing in Las Vegas is going to be great for WWE moving forward. And maybe some collaborations between TNA and NXT. It's going to be absolutely necessary. Maybe TNA gets part of the piece of the cake where they, have events in Nevada as well. Las Vegas, man, they are just on fire. They're just on fire. Like, well, besides the Las Vegas Raiders. Sorry, Raiders fans, but I'm not into it yet. The Raiders, but I can be a believer. I can be a believer, and they want to try to bring the Oakland Athletics to Las Vegas as well. The Las Vegas Aces of the WNBA are, amazing. You can't touch this. Las Vegas Golden Knights. They're rumored they're going to be bringing an NBA team. It's been rumored that LeBron James will be the guy to do it. It's just, and then the Raiders. I don't want to talk too much about the Raiders because they have a match against the Chargers on Sunday. Hope you guys pick up a good victory. For everybody, all the Vegas fans out there. But I don't know, just kind of keeping it real. I love the fact that they're moving to Las Vegas. I overall kind of thought with since you have CM Punk being in the first show in Chicago, then you have Randy Orton in their second show on the road. I kind of thought, you kind of have NXT pandering to WWE a little bit. Like, hey, let me borrow some of your superstars just to ensure that people attend our event. But knowing, after finding out this news, I think this news came out, I think a couple of weeks ago. that WWE is building a performance center in Las Vegas, Nevada. Just means that, it's gonna be your same old NXT. And that's not a bad thing. That shouldn't be anything. I still feel like maybe with Las Vegas, obviously all the casinos they talk to each other, all the owners talk to each other, all the hotel, tycoons, you know, and you're gonna get a lot of events, NXT going to the MGM Grand. Going to the MGM Grand. NXT going to, fighting in Caesar's Palace. Maybe, they're going to fight inside, the Excalibur. Maybe they kind of maybe they bring back the Royal Bash or something like that. That'd be pretty badass. But I don't know. I think it's just kind of perfect for NXT. All right, but anyways, tonight on NXT, we have the fallout of No Mercy. Will we see Joe Henry tonight? I'm not too sure, which sucks because I would love to see him. Lexis King will take on Oro Mensah. This is kind of like uh, I think that, besides WWE Bad Blood, which is happening, with Raw and SmackDown, NXT is kind of having a PLE of their own once again from a week to week basis on the USA Network. You recently had No Mercy on Peacock, so I think it's about time that they have something that comes on cable television, and where they're all fighting for that first episode of NXT. Basically, you're gonna have NXT kind of unload a little bit, kind of like, okay, we're going to the CW. We have a lot to prove. We have a lot of, we got to sell out Chicago. We got to sell out St. Louis. So we're gonna have to, kind of play cleanup a little bit here. Will Lexis King, kind of come out of it? After he left AEW, I kind of knew he was gonna wind up somewhere. But so far, as he's performing on NXT, it's just not the same. He just doesn't look like the same dude. It's I don't know. I'm not saying he could be better because I don't really think that he's that superstar for people to kind of go head over heels for, to be like, oh, Lexus King, like, yeah, like, let's do it. Kind of looks like this Tiger King guy who fights for his voice and music and stuff like that. But like, I guess it could work. It's not his fault about the bookings and stuff like that. But and then we also have Trick Williams taking on Pete Dunn. Pete Dunn interrupted the main event match at NXT No Mercy, which cost Joe Henry the championship, which sucked. But Ethan Page is all ego and he retains the NXT World Heavyweight Championship. But tonight we will see Trick Williams going up against Pete Dunn. Will we see Sheamus tonight? Possibility that could happen, since Pete Dunne cost him a chance at the Intercontinental Championship. And, you kind of have that promo where he was talking to Jackie Redmond, saying that, I don't like being called Butch. It was from an outside source, it wasn't from Pete Dunne. And, maybe kind of hinting at a reunion between Rich Holland and Pete Dunne. Maybe both of them, start causing carnage on WWE NXT. That'd be pretty damn interesting. Next, we have an NXT Tag Team Title #1 contenders match. Axiom and Nathan Frazier reclaimed the NXT Tag Team Championship against Andre Chase and Rich Holland. But then you saw Rich Holland go absolutely berserk. It was, kind of crazy. But the match tonight, we have, Hake and Tank. We also have the Rascals, and we have Gallus. I think I want to see the Rascals pick up the victory, but Hank and Tank, they've been pretty good on WWE NXT week in and week out. Cutting good promos, getting like this babyface kind of feel around these guys. Kind of reminds me of like a bootleg, Creed Brothers, where these guys could be high flying, also dynamic, technical, also powerhouses. So I can see that happening. Gallus is lost. Gallus is kind of a lost cause from here. For me personally, I want to see the Rascals, win. I want to see them go up against, Axiom and Nathan Frazier, because they did have that 6-man tag team match. I think the week before. Damn it! I think it was the week before NXT Great American Bash. And the match was just a freaking instant classic. It was great. It was absolutely 1,010% kept the fans on their heels. But yeah, what's next for Chase U and Rich Holland? Chase U has all, they have not yet had a title run that really, you're kind of proud of. Rich Holland, his shocking betrayal should be addressed tonight. Should be pretty interesting. Are we going to see Julia appear on WWE NXT? Should be interesting. We're going to see Tatum Paxley address Wendy Chu. Also, we're going to start building up momentum for the WWE NXT Women's and the WWE Men's North American Championship. Moving forward toward the first episode of the CW Obafemi. Also, the Kaylani Jordan from the women's side, Roxanne Perez. Probably end up fighting Julia. Could be pretty crazy. Could be pretty damn crazy, but I don't know. Overall, it's it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. All right. So next, we're gonna talk about Asuka. Asuka signs. No, that's our fourth segment. Sorry, we're gonna talk about Kevin Owens. We're gonna talk about Kevin Owens first. We had somebody successfully sign a deal with WWE, so now we're gonna talk about someone who didn't have such luck. But we're going to talk about it next at the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. We are live here at the GSMCpodcast.net. This is the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I have all your cool wrestling factoids Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern on the network. We also talk about, from things from AEW, the TNA, professional wrestling, Ring of Honor. Basically, if it makes headline news in the wrestling committee or community, we talk about it here on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. So just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We had our WWE Monday Night Raw review, our WWE NXT preview, and now we're going to talk about, will Kevin Owens re-sign with the WWE? As of right now, it seems kind of dire, and I'm not, trying to sound mean, just trying to sound a little realistic in this kind of aspect of it, which is always not fun. But before we do any of that, I urge you guys, if you have a burning question or a hot take in terms of professional wrestling or just something you're dying to get off your chest, here at the GSMC Sports Network, we are all ears. This show is all about keeping the conversation lively, making sure your voice is part of the conversation, part of the mix. So don't be shy and drop those thoughts inside the chat. And if you really want to make sure your comment or question gets noticed, why not use that super chat under the chat box? Hit up that $sign, and it's guaranteed that your comment and question will be featured on the show. Plus, it's a great way to keep the lights on in terms of bringing you even more awesome sports content in this case, professional wrestling content. We are absolutely 1,010% super grateful for each and every one of you guys who tune into the podcast daily. And if once again, if the super chat is not your thing, remember you can still hit us up at the GSMCpodcast.net. Hit up the tips and donations link. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Give me some of your professional wrestling hot takes. Love those. Overall, I want this podcast to be like a nice little ongoing conversation that we have between one another. And remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. So don't be shy. Hit up those comments, guys, and it's going to be awesome. Super chats, super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. So let's talk about some Kevin Owens. So Kevin Owens has recently been in contract conflicts with WWE. It's not really a surprise at this point in time, because Kevin Owens, I feel like, has been kind of in this shift of professional wrestling, kind of this wrestling paradigm that you had that I feel like, WWE had this idea that Vince McMahon would eventually leave WWE. They gave the reins to Triple H. Triple H lost the reins because Vince McMahon was like, "Oh, I want to come back and do this and that and the other." Then you had Vince come back for a couple of years. You see superstars like Kevin Owens suffer, and also Finn Balor. Finn Balor suffer as well during this time. And then Vince McMahon is kind of doing his thing, and then of course, like, he had to retire. Now, WWE doesn't even mention the name Vince McMahon anymore because of everything between the Janelle Grant allegations, and he's not even featured on WWE. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy 1,010%. And the person who kind of suffered along this journey, I feel like, is Kevin Owens. I feel like Triple H kind of had the idea for him, but you know how Vince McMahon loves his nostalgia. He dropped his Universal Championship to Bill Goldberg. Like, when does that ever happen? Bill Goldberg also, defeated the Fiend as well, and it's frustrating, especially with Kevin Owens. When Kevin Owens enters the arena, he's not just this guy that people are like, "Oh, you know what? Like, he's okay." He comes out, he has this loud, roaring theme song. The fans are behind him. He's a huge Canadian professional wrestler. He's noticed all over Canada, French Canada, and WWE. Of course, once when they have events in Canada, they like to exploit that. But overall, for Kevin Owens, I hate seeing him in this position because he seems like he was such a promising athlete coming out of NXT. And once again, Kevin Owens is kind of like that bad example of, how once when NXT superstars made it onto the WWE main rosters, how it didn't really work out. Of course, that's aside to, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and all that kind of stuff. Kevin Owens joins the list like Keith Lee, Aleister Black, Lars Sullivan, EC3, and it sucks. I feel for Kevin. Overall, I do feel like he goes out there and he gives it 1,010% all he has. It's the reason why I love watching Kevin Owens matches and stuff like that. I feel like WWE, he got offered a contract by WWE. He got offered a contract. AEW did not match that contract, leaving Kevin Owens to ultimately decide, should he take a pay cut to be in WWE. At this point, I feel like he should. A lot of people are like saying that he shouldn't, but I know WWE shouldn't pay top dollar for Kevin Owens, although Kevin Owens have been, he's been pretty great for WWE. But it's hard to say. I feel like overall Kevin Owens could maybe, I feel like his character could be bigger in AEW, but there's so many superstars that are going to AEW. It's like a one-stop shop kind of place, and then somebody kind of moves on. Like, you've seen that with CM Punk, Jade Cargill, Cody Rhodes came back to WWE, showing that WWE is, of course, the main landscape in terms of professional wrestling. So to kind of keep your name in there in terms of basically everything, professional wrestling, when you have, when you're featured on SmackDown, he could be the United States champion. But that's another thing. When Kevin Owens, and you saw it at Bash at Berlin with his match against Cody Rhodes, it just wasn't top tier. It wasn't people like, oh my God, like, for me, most of the time on Saturdays, I do work. And then I'm like, I dread not watching the WWE pay-per-views because I'm like, shoot, I do not want to miss the match between Roman Reigns and, somebody, for the WWE Undisputed Championship. So I'll record it. Bash at Berlin, I felt no regards. I didn't record it. I watched, I looked up the replay, hours later after I found out everything that already happened. And it just, because I love being surprised as a professional wrestler enthusiast. But for this pay-per-view, it wasn't great. WWE Bash at Berlin wasn't great. But what matches you kind of had to look something, what you had to look forward to? Like, Kevin Owens could have been a bigger superstar if done right. But I feel like WWE Creative had definitely, caused detrimental, harm to his character bookings. Now people automatically just assume Kevin Owens is, going to be a part of a faction, then turn on him, then go for a singles championship and fail. Then he joins a faction again, turns on them, goes after another singles championship and fails. like this wash, rinse, and repeat mentality of WWE. You know, it worked for a little bit, but I think WWE fans are starting to catch on. I feel like Kevin Owens, he could be something bigger, but AEW, man, there's a lot of talent in AEW as well. It's not just a cakewalk. It's not guaranteed that once when you step onto the scene, you're going to become AEW Continental Champion and defeat Kazuchika Okada. It's not going to be guaranteed that you challenge for the AEW TNT Championship and defeat Jack Perry, or you defeat, Bryan Danielson. But overall, Kevin Owens could be taken better care of in terms of WWE. I feel like WWE should have let him go. I don't think he should. But a lot of speculations, a lot of contract talks is, definitely definitely in the talks right now. Kevin Owens, he hasn't won a singles championship in 7 years. His last reign was the Universal Championship that he lost 8 years ago. And, he had his, little limelight with Sami Zayn dethroning the Usos for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania, which was good, which was cool. But Kevin Owens, and I feel like that's what WWE's kind of looking forward to is the future. In 2025, what will Kevin Owens be? If he's going to be the same superstar, use that money to sign somebody big like Bobby Lashley. Because when you think of Bobby Lashley, you think of somebody main event. I see Bobby Lashley main event right off the bat, main event. No questions asked. When I see Kevin Owens, it's not the same talk. It's not the same talk. And, it's brutal and it sucks. But I don't know. I feel like WWE will re-sign KO. And I feel like Kevin Owens needs to re-sign with WWE despite if I was Kevin Owens' agent, I would, despite the money you could probably be getting somewhere else, AEW did not match they were like, they saw what Kevin Owens was asking and saw what WWE was offering. They were like, no, thank you. Kevin Owens, I don't think that you should look down on your talent. I don't think that you should, look at what WWE is offering you as, some kind of an insult. You're in the world of professional wrestling and it's hard to make it. It's hard to make a buck. It's hard to be that limelight because, WWE creative or wrestling creative writers could have you in different bookings, and it's not your fault. It's not an indictment on your physical capabilities, your mic skills, because I feel like Kevin Owens does have some pretty good in-ring mic skills. I love it. I love it when Kevin Owens, grabs a mic. He's very humorous. He's funny. Also, he's very controversial. Gets in your face. Fight Owens, fight. But as of right now, I'm gonna, if I was the agent of Kevin Owens, I'd be like, look, swallow your pride, hope for a better year in WWE, and maybe in next contract talks we can get something better. But right now, you can't leave WWE. You make it AEW, I guarantee you're gonna be the same. You're gonna be in the same position you are now. You're gonna be mid-carder. Maybe touch on main events here and there, but I think he's gonna be mid-carder if he goes to AEW. Couple of reasons why Kevin Owens should sign with, WWE. First and foremost, we have, Triple H's influences on the new Paul Levesque era. When Kevin Owens won his Universal Championship, Triple H kind of deemed him the guy, turning on Seth Rollins and having Kevin win the championship. And, once when I was talking about that professional wrestling paradigm in WWE, where you had, Vince and Triple H and other creative people, putting their hands in, and maybe sometimes Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe, dip their fingers in a little bit too. And you're like, dude, like, what are we doing with this guy? Like, what's happening here? And it just hasn't really worked out for Kevin, and Kevin has felt the worst of it. I kind of like to compare his character to a lot of what Finn Balor is dealing with as well. Finn Balor started off hot of NXT, like what you saw, Kevin Owens, but then of course, because Finn Balor had to relinquish the Universal Championship because of the shoulder injury with his match against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. And, Kevin Owens, didn't really have an injury. It's just that, and he feels like his title reign, Kevin Owens admitted on SmackDown that a lot of us kind of knew what he was alluding to. He kind of compared, it was tainted. It was tainted. Every single match he won, it was basically thanks to an interference by Chris Jericho. He won the championship because of Triple H, but it's just hard. And to be able to be a main event player, I feel like Kevin Owens needs to at this point, I'm not really too sure of how you could stay in the wrestling promotion industry in the same business for 8 years and kind of being considered a main event player. I don't want to condemn him to death. I don't want to say that he's DOA in terms of, being promoted as perhaps a WWE champion. I don't want to say that because, I don't want to, curse anybody's career. I feel like Kevin Owens is talented. I do, and it's a damn shame that what's happened to his career. It's a damn shame, and it's remarkable what he's kind of come from to be a wrestler where he is right now. I'm not trying to say that overall he should be accepted of that, and he should just take dimes over dimes and jump over dimes to take pennies. I don't want him to feel like he has to kind of shoot himself low to be like, well, at least I'm a WWE superstar. Like, dude, like if you can go out there and think you can get better, which I feel like he can. I go for it. Dude, go for it. But during this day and age, especially, and I'm not trying to sound like that father. I am a father of three, and I'm not trying to say Kevin Owens is my son. But if you're in a business like the WWE, you are financially stable. Your career is stable. You have that stability. And you're gonna sacrifice this, you're gonna, take the chance to go into AEW, and it's still unpredictable what could happen in AEW. You don't know what's gonna happen if you cross borders into Tony Khan's promotion. You don't know what's gonna happen. What if you wind up in the same spot you are in right now, and then, all right, I'm just gonna go back to WWE. They're gonna lowball the crap out of you in terms of your contract. They are gonna be like, all right, this guy failed in AEW. I don't want to say I told you so, but now we're going to offer you less money. So I'm not saying Kevin Owens should just take the deal, but yeah, maybe that's what I'm saying. Take the deal, Kevin. Take the deal. I'm just kidding. Moving forward, we have Asuka. On the other hand, women's division, she signs a long-term deal with WWE. Good for her. We're going to kind of jump on the other side of that spectrum and, kind of talk about how Asuka's featuring WWE, what this means for, the Triple H Paul Levesque era and the women's division on Monday Night Raw, which sadly needs a revamp. So here we're going to be back in about like 25 seconds.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right. We're back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast live on the GSMC Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Obviously, every Monday through Friday, I'm here. 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. I'm here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling. So yeah, just going to reflect on what we talked about. We had our WWE Monday Night Raw review, my WWE NXT preview, which is happening right now. I have it recorded. We are almost an hour in. I haven't checked a single shred of Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, or TikTok. No, it's, what is the other thing? Twitter. Well, that's not Twitter anymore. X. I did see, kind of update by God, what's his face? The guy who created the Cybertruck. I'm just kidding. But have you seen those around? I'm not a huge fan of the Cybertruck. I got to be honest. Looks like you're driving like a Porygon or something like that from Pokemon. It's kind of crazy. But if you do own a Cybertruck, I'm not talking crap on it at all. I think it's cool. Good for you. Helping out the environment. Love it. Like it. I love it. Like it. I love it. So, but overall, it does look a little ugly. You gotta, I'm just kidding. No. All right, moving on. This is a wrestling podcast. We're not talking about cars, although a pretty tough car would be probably the 57 Mustang. Sure, I'm just kidding. No, I'm Ford Mustang. I'm just kidding. But anyways, let's talk about Asuka signing a long-term deal with the WWE. I'm happy for Asuka. I feel like she deserved it. And like I said before, Monday Night Raw needs a huge revamp in the women's division. She comes back, takes over Damage Control. They feud with the Pure Fusion Collective, which is dying. it's dying before it even, spread its wings. And, I'm not, Sonya Deville throughout her career in WWE, she's had promising starts. She was in, what was it? Fudge, with Mandy Rose and Saraya, no Paige. Absolution. She was in Absolution once when, Paige was forced to retire again. And then then you had the tag team between Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. It's kind of fell forward. Sonya Deville as a superstar, as a single superstar, kind of fell forward. And now, once again, third time is a charm, not for Sonya Deville. This is failing as well. And it's sad to say. Sad to say, Sonya Deville, she's cool. She's cool, man. It's all right. Zoe Stark is great. I love Shayna Baszler. I feel like Shayna Baszler has been one of those NXT talents that has been widely underused. Once again, showing how WWE creative under the Vince McMahon era did not know how to handle Shayna Baszler coming out of NXT, a two-time NXT World Women's Championship holder. But this Pure Fusion Collective thing, it's not working on Raw. With WWE, women's factions usually don't really last. Damage Control was pretty great. But you're kind of seeing right now between Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi, it's working. But overall, I want to see Asuka come back as a single superstar. I do not want to see her compete with the Kabuki Warriors once again. Obviously, maybe you could have that angle where you have Io Sky and Kairi Singh win the WWE World Women's Championship. Maybe have Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair finally, go at it with each other, because I feel like those two should be WWE Women's single superstars. After watching Bash at Berlin, I was like, you know what? And I promised you guys, and I'm sorry I had to go back on my promise. I promised I would never, talk bad about the group again. But I feel like it's good for WWE. I feel like it's great for WWE. Just imagine having, if you're a manager, imagine having these two coworkers that'd be like, oh man, if these guys were, on separate shifts, the business would be better. But they refuse to, to break up. They refuse to kind of be apart from each other. And overall, the business kind of takes a sink. And in the women's division right now, Bayley returned after she hasn't been seen on SummerSlam. Tiffany Stratton is constantly flirting with, cashing in the Money in the Bank with Nia Jax. It needs something different. It needs something different. Needs something better on SmackDown right now. And all of WWE besides NXT. NXT's killing it in terms of the women's division. But overall, I feel like it could be 1,010%, get a lot more viewers in terms of the increase on, between that demographic between 19 and 41 years old. But I don't know. But anyways, so let's talk about Asuka. Asuka signed a WWE contract, which is great. I love that for her. Obviously, she's dealing with a knee injury as well. PW Insider reports that Asuka has signed a new long-term deal with WWE. Terms of the deal were not disclosed. In May, Asuka posted a vlog on her YouTube channel saying that after the European tour, she needed to get a treatment for her knee, and it's been hurting for quite a while. And she was announced for Queen of the Ring. She was ultimately replaced by Dakota Kai due to injury. She definitely has another women's championship run inside of her. I believe that 1,010%. Whenever you see Asuka in the match, is WWE ready for Asuka? I don't think they are. I don't think they are. Asuka had a lot of opportunities in the past, and she's capitalized on a lot of them. She's won the Women's Royal Rumble. She's won the Raw, SmackDown Women's Championship. She's been basically the face of the women's division, low key. Of course you have Bianca Belair, and of course you have your Charlotte Flair and your Becky Lynch. Those are honestly only the three superstars that I could think about that are probably better than Asuka. I have yet to see Jade Cargill in like a singles, match. I'm not saying that she's not good. She's the longest reigning TBS champion in AEW history. Maybe, well, of course, before Mercedes Moné probably takes it over, which she will. Tony Khan loves her himself some Mercedes Moné. But Asuka, I think she's great. Kairi Singh, Io Sky. I read a report that maybe she might turn heel and go against Io Sky and Kairi Sane, but I think that would be stupid. That would be highly like you bring her back just to knock down all her confidants, and people are expecting a huge comeback with the tag team that you have of Damage Control. It'd be kind of like shooting yourself in the foot before you're trying to run a marathon. It'd be awful. It would be 1,010% awful to see Asuka, kind of go on her own a little bit. Although I do think she has the capability of being, on her own, kind of like that lone wolf kind of, when I found out she was injured, I was devastated. I ultimately picked her to be the WWE Women's Queen of the Ring. And then finding out she was injured, I was devastated. Once again, WWE, the women's, and the men's injury reports where you had CM Punk, where you had Drew McIntyre. And, the roster was better than what you saw on Raw and SmackDown, which is kind of sad. But Asuka's also not drafted to any kind of brand. She confronts Liv Morgan for the WWE Women's World Heavyweight Championship, which would be awesome. Obviously, I feel like Liv Morgan cannot lose that belt against Rhea Ripley. If Rhea Ripley wins the championship at Bad Blood, I don't know. I feel like that'd be bad. I feel like that'd be bad for the WWE. That's just my opinion, of course. I think overall you're going to see a rematch between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair for the WWE Women's World Heavyweight Championship in the future. Maybe WrestleMania 41, Las Vegas. You have to sell out Las Vegas. When you think about Las Vegas, you think about all the stars shining bright, all the stars up in the sky. Every notable name in terms of WWE will be at this event. And this is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And Charlotte Flair would just add the whipped cream to the top. Would be the whipped cream to the cake. What is it? Macho Man Randy Savage? Cream of the crop. To the top. I'm just kidding. But I would love to see Asuka kind of pursue a role better than just, go into Damage Control once again. She kind of led that rebellion against Bayley. Maybe she finds a way to maybe they do away with Asuka on Damage Control. Maybe she debuts on SmackDown. That could happen. Confronts Bayley one-on-one. Be like, hey, I'm next in line. I'm the one who rubbed you out of Damage Control. We plotted something against you, and then bam, that's how that happens. And then Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax kind of have a feud, from there on, kind of moving forward. I feel like that'd be pretty good. I feel like that'd be pretty great. But what WWE cannot do is, they can't afford to have a bad booking for Asuka. Asuka is a talented superstar. She's the face of the women's division, especially during the pandemic. Once when you had, I don't know if any of you guys saw that wild women's Money to Bank match at the WWE headquarters. I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty awesome. You saw, Carmella freaking out. I don't know. I just thought it was great. And she won that championship match only to find out the belt was inside, not a contract. And Becky Lynch, well, she left for maternity leave, and that left a lot on Asuka's shoulders. And I feel like overall she delivered. I feel like she delivered, losing the match against, not Bianca, losing the match against Charlotte Flair. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say I had my doubts because I knew it was going to happen. I was like, all right, Charlotte's black. Charlotte's, she's going to be champion. We just got to accept it. It's going to happen. But overall, love seeing Asuka sign a long-term contract. Definitely think it's for the best of the WWE Women's Division on Raw or even SmackDown. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be great. Much like gravy, guys. It's good on everything. All right, so now we're going to jump on into our fifth and final segment. We're going to talk about Tuesdays today in wrestling history. We're going to drive I'm going to pick you guys up in my DeLorean, gun it to 88 miles per hour, and where we're going, guys, we don't need no roads. We'll be back. All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring. We also talk about superstar news and injury updates, promotional news from the NWA to AEW. If it makes major wrestling headline news, we talk about it here on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. So, yeah, let's go ahead and dig on into our fifth and final segment. Something that we do every Tuesday. I jump into my wrestling DeLorean, take you guys along for the ride and give you my Tuesdays today in wrestling history. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and talk about it. All right, so it is, what is it, September 3rd? September 3rd. Let's go ahead and talk about what happened today on today's and today in wrestling history. In 1984, in the World Classic Championship Wrestling, the Fabulous Freebirds of Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy, and Buddy Roberts lost the WCCW Six-Man Tag Team Championship in an elimination handicap match to Kerry and Kevin Von Erich. Well, which is kind of crazy because you saw the, TNA, no, not TNA. You saw Ring of Honor, you saw AEW kind of adopt a lot of these championships that were kind of forgotten. Like you saw ECW's, the FTW championship make its way to AEW, the Six-Man championship make its way to Ring of Honor. And why couldn't WWE have this Six-Man championship or the triple man championship? It would have been so great for the future of WWE. A lot of superstars, where you have factions that included more than two guys, it could have been successful. Noted that it could have taken away prestigious from the tag team division. But that's why, you have some of those superstars on there. And then like WWE on Raw and SmackDown, you just have loads and loads of talent that could be featured on shows. You don't have to have mindless and, pointless matches. And I'm not trying to hate on it, I swear to God. But you don't have to see, Michin take on Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship, although it was pretty good in the street fight. But overall, we all knew that Nia Jax was going to win. Like, just imagine if you had, a six-man championship in the men or women's division, although it would mean a lot, maybe have it defended across, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. That'd be pretty badass. I feel like, I love that. But there are a lot of pointless matches that does happen. Like, with this feud between Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman, I'm not really into it. This whole, Pure Fusion Collective. And also, you have this thing with Sheamus and Pete Dunn. And it seems like nothing's being solved. Imagine having like a 6-man 3-on-3 championship match. I feel like it'd be great. I feel like it'd be very great. And obviously, the match was a handicap match, but because the third Von Erich brother, Mike, was injured either on the card in a match with Gino Hernandez, Kerry was eliminated first before Kevin beat a 3-on-1 odds to sweep all three birds in a win in the match. The match was also a loser leaves town match and served as a write-off of the Freebirds who moved to the WWF for a short stint. The Fabulous Freebirds, definitely when people think about iconic tag teams, they're in the mix. They're in the mix. Obviously, a name that stands out. All of them do, by the way. But Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes is a huge, he's a trainer of WWE, part of the creative team, part of the promotional team. He was also, he did commentary for a little bit, especially during the early WWE 1990s, I want to say, 1995, 1996. And he was a good announcer. I kind of compare him and the new announcer on WWE Monday Night Raw who joined Wade Barrett, Joe Teslator or something like that. I kind of, his approach kind of sounded like the Michael Hayes approach. And I thought it was pretty great. I thought it was overall, pretty damn great. All right, next we have Sting. Look at Sting! Tony Schiavone, my man. We had Sting, and I do not know why this is not working. Sorry, guys. Gotta love technology. Gotta love technology when it decides not to work and makes you look like a complete idiot. Let's reload the page. All right. So, just to talk about the internet. Let's go to talk about the internet. But I think it was King Yuta, I don't want to say it was 1971 because I could be wrong because my notes aren't popping up. In 19, wherever, Sting lost the match to King Yuta, which was huge because Sting was like this up and comer young superstar that a lot of people thought eventually will be, kind of like this new guy. And he was. Sting was able to kind of, to kind of come up from the shadows in terms of, WCW, from the NWA. He was big in the NWA. Oh my God, when he made his debut in WCW, it was huge. It was good for, WCW. A lot of the NWA stars that do so damn well within the promotion and then end up, kind of faltering to the side. Like nowadays, you see that. Back then, the NWA was kind of like a steeple of wrestling's future. It was kind of like the NXT of wrestling. I got to be honest. A lot of superstars did move on to WWF. I think it was the WWF, and then the Jim Crockett Promotions, which eventually became WCW. So I don't know. Like overall, it was kind of crazy to see Sting lose that match. And next we had Mustache Mountain winning at the, I think it was Carcana championship match, which you saw all these superstars kind of become prominent within WWE. Obviously, huge stepping stone for either one of these guys. Pete Dunn, you kind of noticed. Tyler Bates. I honestly thought when Bates New Catch Republic, I thought it was I thought it was new. I thought it was a New Catch Republic, but I guess overall, it just wasn't meant to be. You know, injuries, plague. That's what caused Pete Dunne to kind of come over. I thought overall WWE SmackDown was kind of grooming them up to be the new tag team champions. Obviously, that wasn't the case. And Pete Dunne is. I love Pete Dunne, the bruiserweight. But now it just doesn't really work out. It just doesn't really work out. All right, yeah, here we go. The House Strong style, known as Mustache Mountain, and consisting of Pete Dunne, Tyler Bates, and Trent Seven. Obviously, you kind of have Trent Seven right now, Mustache Mountain, or Speedball Mike Bailey, or Speedball Mountain on TNA. So they're doing their thing up there. Won the Chikara King of Trios tournament by defeating the House of Sudai girls, Cassandra the tournament. Final, that's kind of crazy, but overall, let's just move on. All right, so in 2018, damn it, why is it doing this to me? In 2018, you saw you saw damn it, who was the other tag team? Oh, I hate it so much. Oh, technology, I love you, but I hate you at the same time. But anyways, you saw Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas lose their tag team championships on Raw to Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, I believe. I think it was. Don't want to. There we go. Damn it! Why is he doing that on an episode of Monday Night Raw? And kind of, I thought that this put the nail in the coffin for Curtis Axel's career. Obviously, I think he's the son of Mr. Perfect. And then Bo Dallas, Barry Windham, also, Bray Wyatt. And second generation superstars, proving that they were all that. Obviously, the Miz's hitmen. Obviously, they're his goons. Just wasn't good enough to kind of, achieve status quo in WWE. I absolutely thought they were dead in the water. I don't see Curtis Axel anywhere in terms of professional wrestling. So obviously, Bo Dallas is getting a second chance, trying to reincarnate what his brother ultimately wanted created in WWE. This horror movie, kind of, Uncle Howdy, Cabin. What is it? Cabin in the Woods or False Cabin or whatever the hell that scary movie was back in the old days. Long Cabin, damn it, I can't think of it right now. But overall, it was, it kind of sucked. It kind of sucked to be Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. WWE talent wasted once again. But yeah. All right. So overall, hope you guys liked my Tuesdays today in wrestling history. Couple of birthdays today. We have Nick Gulas, also Hannah Kamira, which is kind of crazy, kind of cool. And gotta love technology, how it totally loves to just screw you in the face once when you need it. Oh God. All right. So I got, definitely got to wrap this up. I got my boy Emran's GSMC Soccer Podcast happening in about 13 minutes. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But anyways, guys, that's all the show I got for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. Here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling. Once again, of course, Superman, punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network. Also follow us on Twitter /X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for more content and updates. And like I always say, if I had not made you a wrestling fan by now, we also got football right around the corner. The NFL starts on Thursday with the Baltimore Ravens visiting the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium on Thursday night football on NBC. Also Friday we have a football bout. We also have a load of matches on Sunday. Monday Night Football with the Jets. Can Aaron Rodgers finally complete an offensive series without getting injured against the dynamic, dominant San Francisco 49ers front rush? My man Kenneth is on the GSMC Football Podcast. He covers all of that. Manny with the Chip Shot Football Podcast. We also got my boy Tommy with college football. NFL is your thing, but also you dabble in college football on Saturdays. It's cool. It's cool. I got to be honest, I've kind of jumped on to that Texas Longhorns bandwagon. They did pretty good against Colorado State, defeated them 52-0. But, is that a fluke? Not saying it is. Not saying it isn't. Not saying, but I'm just saying. We got my boy Nelson with the GSMC Basketball Podcast, Chris Shepard with the GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast. Find out all your stardoms, your sit-ems, who to trade, or who to pick up during the off season or during the on season. Sorry, what if somebody gets injured? Find out your sleepers. Find out exactly how you could stay on top of your fantasy league and become the person who wins, but most importantly, the person with the biggest bragging rights. We also have, my boy Emron, GSMC Pop Soccer Podcast. We got the GSMC Sports Podcast by my boy TJ, Sports by GSMC by my man Jeremy. And yeah, we're just a bunch of podcast guys here that loves to talk about sports. And it's 1,010% free. It's not like ESPN or Fox Sports West. Not that I'm, crapping on any of those guys. It's not throw shade at the competition here. But I'm just kidding, no. Overall, definitely love you guys. Definitely we love and appreciate every single time you guys tune into our shows. I give you the Eric Rodriguez guarantee that if you subscribe, you will never, ever, ever, ever regret doing so, because you find out a lot about sports. The one thing that I really honestly love about watching a lot of the podcasts, and I'll kind of keep this brief, on the GSMC Sports Network, is because when you watch a lot of ESPN and Fox Sports and all this other, it's just like you see the same, you see the same stories kind of recycled over and over again. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, I feel like we have hotter takes. We have hotter takes because we're fans too. We're sports fans as well. Kind of like, you can join a conversation easily. Kind of be more welcome inside the the chat, just to kind of feel like you're part of the mix. And we love the same thing you guys do with sports, but overall we talk about things that a lot of other sports shows that don't talk about, that maybe that are pivotal to fantasy sports, the NFL, the NBA. Also, we used to have a couple other podcasts like the NHL, stuff like that, which will come. So be patient, much like with the Wyatt Sicks guys. Be patient. Be patient. Patience, young grasshopper. Patience. All right. But moving on to tonight, obviously have an amazing Tuesday night. Hope you guys enjoyed NXT. I'm going to watch it right now. Can't wait to. Also, stay beautiful, but most importantly, love you.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my